Flex Zone Podcast, episode 380. We won't stop. We keep it going, keep it moving. Another monumental episode. They tried to hold us down, but we're going to keep it going. We're going to fight through the technical difficulties. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Sports and Blackness series continues as we celebrate Black History Month. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Another illustrious guest. We're recapping the Super Bowl and the NBA trade deadline. That and so much more. And of course, we get goofy with Crevonte. Guys, go ahead if you're already in here. Vote on the poll, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell. Flex Zone Podcast, new episode coming to you live right after this. More electrifying than another Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory and last second drive and another fourth quarter comeback by double digits. Only place giving you sports how you want it. Fellas,
When you need it.
episode 380. We keep it fresh and funky here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Sports and Blackness continues. Celebrating Black History Month each and every day. Not just in February, but 365. We're live. You guys know the drill. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit that like button, vote on the poll. Let us know how many rings Patrick Mahomes will win. We got numbers up there for you to vote on as well. You guys know who we are. Going to do it anyway. God's favorite host here, BKD, back again for another episode. Very illustrious guest we'll introduce in a second, and he's going to take the Flex Zone to another level as always. Starting off with Big Rod, our social media producer. How you feeling, brother? Little Super Bowl hangover? You good?
Oh, I'm fine, man. I'm fine, man. I had a kind of a iffy kind of day. I had to bury a coach of ours, Coach Freddie Hendricks. Hung out with the mayor, Brandon Scott. It was a somber, but it was a day of reflection. You know what I'm saying? So it was good to see a lot of old folks that I haven't seen in God knows how long, man. But I'm over the Super Bowl, man. I'm over the Super Bowl. I'm cool on it.
Next man, Captain of the Goofy Ship, the Commandalorian, Crevonte, Bay. I think he hit on a couple bets yesterday too.
Hey man, hey, listen, man. I tried to tell y'all. Tried to tell y'all what's gonna happen, huh?
Well, I was with you. I agree with you.
Oh no, yeah. But I'm just saying.
I was with you too.
The whole year. The whole year.
I learned my lesson.
The whole year. Try to tell you the whole year what was gonna happen, but it was a great game, great finish. I was with my brother Dre, and we were on the opposite side, so that's always fun. But Monday nights we back at it. Can't wait to get into it. I believe me and Dre are tied for the postseason record, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll get into it a little bit later. So yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. And I hear we got a nice, lavish, illustrious guest. Can't wait to introduce him.
Let's get to it. The professor, the dean of Baltimore Hall University, Lamar's agent, straw that stirs the drink, pride of the East Side, super producer himself, Drizzy Dre. How you feeling, brother?
Hey man, I'm feeling good and happy to be here for another edition of this Sports and Blackness series that we're doing here in 2023. I'm ready to get to work, and I acknowledge the tribal chief.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. This next man needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway, or we're going to do our best here on the Flex Zone Podcast. You know we have nothing but illustrious guests, and kicking off our Sports and Blackness series this year for 2023. You may have seen him on your TV screens, heard him on your radio dials. He is top-level executive. He is trusted advisor, political powerhouse, podcaster himself, and amongst other things, a mogul in the political scene here in Baltimore City. You can follow him at TJ Smith Social and his website, TJ Smith Media. For the first time, and hopefully not the last time, let's welcome in the man himself, Mr. TJ Smith, to the Flex Zone Podcast. Give it up for him, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I was wondering who y'all were talking about. This guest y'all were having. I was sitting backstage waiting to get him myself, but I appreciate that. It's way too kind, and I'm pleased to be here tonight.
Hey, we're happy to have you. First of all, it's good to see you. How you feeling? For those who don't know, what are you up to these days? I know you probably don't sleep much, but what are you up to, Mr. Smith?
I try to keep busy. I got a young son, so he keeps me busy, and but I keep it moving, man. I'm busy, whether it's in the consulting space or podcast world or radio world. Something. I'm always doing something. I do a little bit of analysis work on TV1 for their crime shows. So it's always something. I mean, my world is different almost every day, and I'm good with that. I did a lot of the hard work in the first portion of my adult life, and now in this portion of my adult life, I'm having the opportunity to really try different things and do different stuff.
Go ahead, fellas. Let's get to it.
Hey, awesome. I guess my first question to you is going to be: I see that you got that purple and black on, the Baltimore Ravens.
Of course, yeah.
Do you think Lamar Jackson stays in Baltimore?
That's the question du jour. Everybody wants to know the answer to that. Here's what I'll say first. There haven't been any leaks from the Ravens or Lamar about this whole contract deal. So I think that should kind of put Baltimore fans at ease a little bit, because it's not like they're trying to, do it through the media and gain sympathy or take sides. People have just taken sides, but they haven't publicly. You haven't heard it being nasty. That being said, we know that there's some sort of disagreement with the money, most likely. People have all yeah, they have all their theories about, was it Greg Roman? Is it a lack of receivers? Is it the money? I think it's money, period, because the players can come at any given time. They can come on draft night. So I don't think a player is going to say, I'm not coming because y'all haven't signed someone. I think it comes down to dollars and cents, and I think it's a big dollar. Now, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings in Baltimore, but my thought is simple. If they can't secure him and they have to franchise tag him, I think they're going to trade him. I personally, I would, because then you run the risk of him sitting out, and then you run the risk of him not signing, even if he does decide to play. And it's, again, a risk of hopefully he performs all season long, and hopefully we make the Super Bowl. But that the tax got me to jump to my government lane. That cap hit for the franchise tag is great. And again, this phase of my life, I'm really unbothered. But I believe the Ravens will be fine if they have to move on without him. I don't want that to happen, but it's not doom and gloom like, they're going to become the Cleveland Browns or the Houston Texans of this year. That's not going to happen.
So when you say that Baltimore will be fine, who do you think they would have at the quarterback position to keep them in playoff contention?
Think about this. Think about the last 2 years that Lamar has been hurt. Last year, one game was the difference between them getting into the playoffs and not. This year, one game was the difference between them getting in the playoffs or not. And again, I'm not saying, well, we can do it without him. Of course we can. We don't want to. Ideally, we would like to have him. But if you have a more than or a serviceable quarterback, a little bit better maybe than our Pro Bowl backup quarterback, I think you bring in a couple of other pieces, a wide receiver. James Prochet, he missed a moment of being a star for a lifetime if he makes that catch in the end zone in that Bengals game. But look at how well we played the Bengals every game this year. It was a poor decision, unfortunately, by Huntley that changed the momentum of that game. But we were in control of that game again. So I just don't think it's this doom and gloom if Lamar leaves this franchise that has functioned and won 2 Super Bowls and produced the Hall of Famers that it has over the years and has a culture of winning is going to sink because one player leaves. It's going to hurt, but I don't think it's as devastating as everybody is making it out to be. And again, I want Lamar to be here, but I just want us to like calm down. If he has to go, and if we get a bounty for him, it's really setting this team up, in my opinion, for great long-term success still. So, you know, I hope it works itself out. And I think if it is, we'll know within the next week or so.
All right. I have a question for you. Since Greg Roman is gone and the Super Bowl is over with, and we have a certain offensive coordinator that's contract is up by the name of Eric Bieniemy, and we have a couple of other candidates that we didn't, seem to be flirting with just a little bit. Who would you like to be as the offensive coordinator? Say Lamar Jackson does stay. Who would you like to add as an offensive coordinator?
Well, my friends and I were talking about the Eric Bieniemy thing today. He's a sexy name because he's mentioned all the time, but he's playing with a Pro Bowl quarterback. I'm sorry, a Hall of Fame quarterback. No different than Josh McDaniels.
First ballot
Hall of Fame quarterback. It's like, and Andy Reid is an offensive play caller. That we have to put all of that in the mix. That Andy Reid's success with Philadelphia translated into Kansas City. And Eric Bieniemy, I don't understand why he would take a lateral move when what more can he do? What more does he need on his resume to be a head coach? Maybe he doesn't. If you think about Josh McDaniels, when he was with Bill Belichick, he left for 1 year and came back, and now he's out again, and he's probably a better coordinator than he is a head coach. It's possible Eric Bieniemy is the same way. I think people have this idea of bringing him into Baltimore all of a sudden is going to make the team totally different. He'll have different pieces to work with, but I don't even understand why he would do it. I wouldn't do it if I'm him. I mean, what reason does he have? What reason truly does he have to do that?
That's true.
So
it's a lateral move.
I think I have a theory. So the theory is he's in Andy Reid's shadow. He's not going to get any of the credit of what's going on in Kansas City as far as the success goes, because Andy Reid has such a big, no pun intended, he has a big shadow.
Right.
So I think, and also, obviously, he's black. We got to be above and beyond the average to even get noticed. I think his next job, and he was up for the Indianapolis Colts head coaching job, but I think they made a decision already, getting the Eagles offensive coordinator. But I think he needs to go to a place where he can legit put his stamp on it and be in control of the offense so he can legit get his credit. Even though I think he deserves a lot of credit for what's going on in Kansas City. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's Andy Reid, but it's him too. He's in the he's in the meetings, and he's talking to Patrick Mahomes when he comes after the drive is over.
What is it that he's not selling, being now on a 2 Super Bowl winning team? How many MVPs does Patrick Mahomes have? He's been the coach of this team, this dynamic offense, an offense that could afford to get rid of Tyreek Hill and continue to win. I feel like it's something more there. I mean, look at what New England did with Gerard Mayo. They've inked him and made it public. We maybe need Kansas City to do that. Say you're the head coach in waiting. I mean, that's the other part. Is it possible that he might not want a certain job? I mean, that's the other challenge.
That is the other thing. Yep.
If he goes into a situation where it doesn't work, then his stock value decreases from where
big time. Big time.
Well, I looked up today that he interviewed for 17 head coaching jobs over like almost 17 positions all over the league, and all of them turned them down. I think that they said that is because he's a bad interviewer or something like that. He doesn't do well in interviews, but
including the Colts job too that he got snubbed for.
Wow.
yeah, and
Well,
it was a
Ain't
coach
that
job.
something?
again, I don't know what goes into an NFL coaching job, and I would think whether it's Andy Reid or a network of black former coaches, somebody would coach him up. And if he is that uncoachable, because if you're going into an interview and screwing it up that many times, I've heard those rumors, it's time for a retrospective look at yourself, because I just don't know how you screw up that many times. If that's the case.
So if it's not Eric Bieniemy, what about somebody like a Byron Leftwich? Do you think that would be a good fit for Lamar, or do you see somebody else?
Again, I'm not all about just the sexy name of the moment. I mean, he coached Tom Brady. It's just, it's hard, and he didn't coach an offense like the Ravens run. So, it might be somebody that's out there that, their name is not mentioned as much. That's an up and comer. That could be a quarterback coach who's coached a similar style quarterback as Lamar. It's not many people like Lamar, obviously, but really it comes down to somebody who's going to be able to show that they have the creativity and can use the players we have to design some plays that, and look, let's be honest here. If you go back, and I know I'll get a lot of hate mail for this. Maybe I should put my email out there so they can send the hate mail directly towards me. I wasn't hanging everything on Greg Roman. And the reason why is if you take a look at the games and break them down, and you see that the play was there, but it wasn't executed. If we execute one or two plays in a game, with or without Lamar, we win the games, and we're not having a Greg Roman conversation. And if you couple that with, we're doing it with the receivers that we're doing it with, which everybody says, how you expect to win with these guys? I mean, we were within a score of winning all of those games. If I'm not mistaken, we only lost one game this year by more than one touchdown.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you really look at Miami, we're going to talk about Greg Roman in the Miami game? No. Yes, towards the tail end of the season without Lamar, but we also watched Lamar miss some wide open receivers of this group. I think back to Tylen Wallace back in the early weeks on a fake
Cincinnati game. Yep, Cincinnati.
He was wide open.
He threw it to the guy in the fourth row.
Yeah, you hit him, you win that game. So,
That's what I said also. Lamar has to play ball. It's a negotiation. He can't just say, gimme, 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 because it doesn't work like that. And these owners aren't going to give him a fully guaranteed contract, especially when he's missed double-digit games the past 2 years.
Yeah. And, we have to look at the fact that what Deshaun Watson got with a perennial bad franchise like Cleveland. And pardon me, the conspiracy theorist in me, it's not a whole lot of conspiracy in me, but the conspiracy theorist in me says, did Cleveland know the next two teams that are going to have to pay big money contracts to quarterbacks are the Bengals and the Ravens? And if we can't, beat them, they're going to join us, and we're going to price them out and make other aspects of their team a little bit more difficult for them to fill, because they got to pay this guaranteed money. Because that contract to Deshaun Watson just is nonsensical. Not just in the fact that it happened, but it happened after what he was dealing with still while he was dealing with it. I feel like they did that on purpose. And if you pay Lamar that money, that's saying that he is the best, hands down quarterback in all of football, beyond Joe Burrow, beyond Josh Allen, beyond Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. That's a hell of an investment.
TJ, real quick, right now, Are you taking Lamar over Joe Burrow? Jalen Hurts is about to get paid too. Josh Allen. Lamar
I
is
mean,
probably.
if you start in a franchise today and you had the tape that you have, I don't know many executives that would pick based on the tape that you have available Lamar over Joe Burrow. I just I don't know. I mean, I know it's controversial in Baltimore to say that, but
It's facts,
let's
TJ.
be
It's
real.
facts. They got it. They got to swallow
I
the
mean,
pill.
yeah, that's cap, as my son would say. I mean, just I mean, when I was watching the game last night and watching some of the balls that were thrown last night, I was kind of thinking, man, I don't know if I've seen this over the last few years. Again, it's not the popular thing to say, but it's room for improvement. And with that room for improvement, do you deserve to take up that much and break records when there are other people with resumes that show a little bit of a difference?
So what I'm gonna ask about the contract, because we keep talking about the guaranteed money. We know Lamar wants this portion. Where do you think that he needs to be? Where do you think him and the Ravens need to meet as far as negotiating this contract?
I mean, I thought they were getting to a happier place when they were in the upper ones, like 180-ish to 200, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not a guru on the salary cap and how these contracts are done, but what I understand is he was in the neighborhood, and this is from his own mouth, of 160 to 180 was the corrected number that he gave a reporter of how much the Ravens had offered as far as the guaranteed. And then you have guaranteed versus fully guaranteed. And I believe that the conversation was around fully guaranteed money. That was going to be more than it would have put him number 2, period. Based on the most solid information we have, he would have been number 2 behind only Deshaun Watson, in front of Kyler Murray, in front of Russell Wilson, and it goes on. And then if you think you're not going to get cut in the first 2-3 years of that contract, it's not going to happen. Whatever that salary is, you're going to make it. So you're going to make $200 million plus on this contract. I just if his number, and it has not been any movement. I have no reason to believe it hasn't been any movement, because I think the Ravens would have shut down negotiations and just worked on trading him at this point. But if his number stays Deshaun Watson or bust, if I'm Eric Costa, I'm on the phone listening to every phone call that comes in. And if somebody's going to give me first round draft pick this year, next year, the year after, and a couple of other early ones, see ya.
And I think that's that was the report that came out yesterday, is they're flirting with trade offers for Lamar Jackson. But I just want to say this. I don't like the way this is going, really, because if you go on social media, you see Lamar Jackson's page on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and he's pretty much always in Ravens gear. Oh, he's acting like he's ready for next season. He's blinged out with the Baltimore Ravens chain and all this other type of stuff. And then on the other hand, you get these type of reports from ESPN saying that they're $100 million apart, and they flirt with trades. I just don't think it's a really good look for the city, honestly.
Right.
I don't think it's a good look at all. But I'm hoping that the brother stays. I hope that he comes to his senses that you don't need all of this money. I mean, if you get a nice certain amount of money and you get a weapon or a couple of weapons, near you, and you can keep the team together, I think that's more important than just taking the $250 million or whatever the number is guaranteed. But that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah. And if the Ravens do this and Cleveland works out some sort of restructure with Deshaun right away, and they configure it in a way that they can get more pieces in for him, I think it puts the Ravens at a bit of a disadvantage. Again, if it's a Deshaun Watson, the Deshaun Watson is not happening. That's just, I think, we understand that. It's a matter of reality, and we also have to consider this: he doesn't have an agent, and this is all being done without an agent. And people say, well, Roquan Smith didn't have an agent. Roquan Smith got a great deal, the best deal ever by a middle linebacker, or by a linebacker, I should say, and but it's also not this fully guaranteed $100 million contract for a linebacker. So it's still in the world of realism. So I think, if Lamar believes that there are other options out there, or I guess other people, other owners believe that they would pay him that, then hey, if you can work it in, and I think the experiment's over with. You cannot win with just Lamar Jackson. And then that makes you ask the question, by paying him X amount of dollars, are you going to be able to bring those other pieces in that do get you to a place of winning?
Do you think that what do you when you talk about help, do you think like the Ravens should just trade for another receiver? Should we keep going through the draft, or where do you think that the extra help could go?
Absolutely not the draft. They hit with Torrey Smith, who I think was a perfect complement to Joe Flacco and his deep ball at the time that he was able to get him. But outside of that, the Ravens haven't hit on a wide receiver. We can hit on some tight ends all day long, but we can't hit on a wide receiver. We passed on Stephon Diggs. It was a 5th-round pick, and he's right down the street in PG County, and we passed on him. The year Deshaun Jackson came out, not the 36-year-old that played this year, but the rookie, we passed on him when he was selected in the 2nd round. So I think you trade. You go try to get who's the boy who wanted to trade Deshaun Hopkins?
Oh yeah,
D-Hop would work, I think, in Baltimore. I think you want to do something to get a proven talent, and and I know he's on the other side of 30, but if you could give up a draft pick to get a certified number one, you absolutely do it at this point, because that draft pick that you're going to invest in that number one, it hasn't panned out for us at all.
Okay.
Let's switch. Go ahead. Got something else? Go ahead.
Oh, I was actually about to switch over to asking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since we are in our Sports and Blackness series, what were your thoughts about seeing 2 starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl that were both black?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they were both light skinned, but it was great. There I go with the colorism. No, it was. I think
we used to it here. I get it all.
I think the symbolism was great, and another story that became a story that really never should really be a story. I mean, we've all probably seen the mocks of ESPN finds the horrible story to tell. You got 2 black quarterbacks who were raised by their dads, mentored by their dads, and their dads are right there by their side. So every stereotype that people have put us on the national stage and sold, it wasn't there and available for him. Jalen Hurts going through the adversity that he went through at the 2 colleges and becoming who he became. I mean, he didn't come into the NFL without a cloud of controversy, if you want to say that, when Carson Wentz was still with Philadelphia. So it was great just to see both of them get there. They seem to be 2 guys who handle themselves professionally, and it was great. And I thought the Super Bowl was great. They gave us a heck of a show. I'll say I kind of didn't care who won the game, but I've been an Andy Reid fan for many years, back to the Philly days. He should have had a ring in Philly, and I think all sins are forgiven now. He's where he's supposed to be, a Hall of Fame coach with the hardware to go along with it. And Philly will be there again in the future. I'm hoping it's not next year. Well, I don't care if it's next year. Hopefully it's against the Ravens. We have a bird bowl.
We'd love to see it. I mean, hey, Jalen is comparable to Lamar. I mean, I want Lamar to do like Jalen, work hard and Go get him a receiver. But TJ, I
Yeah.
gotta get you switch gears real quick before we get you out of here. The political scene. We know you are aficionado in that. Maryland, first black governor, Wes Moore. I want to just get your thoughts on it, and just as somebody who's been in those buildings in the trenches, as we say, we've seen you out on the front lines. I've seen you personally uh, with the Baltimore City aspect of our city in general. Just your thoughts on what needs to be done with just as a whole with the regime that is going on now, heading into 2024 and beyond, and just the
Yeah.
overall aspect with the crime and all these initiatives we have going on.
Well, if for the Westmore thing, it's great. It's a great glass ceiling that's been broken, especially considering the last two elections we had black Democratic governor candidates who both ultimately did not succeed. But it's great, and he's a non-politician. I think people get lost in that because he's so good at being a politician. Like he's got that part down, but he's not. He doesn't come from the background of politics, and I do believe that military role, which makes him more non-political or apolitical, so to speak, should help him. I just hope that he doesn't have to succumb to the powers that be in Annapolis, where the legislature gets hold of him and kind of controls the agenda. I hope that he has a bold agenda and does some things unapologetically that need to get done, especially for the city of Baltimore. I mean, he's a Baltimore resident, and okay, yeah, you're the governor of the whole state, but you got to be selfish. Make sure when you come back home, you can come back home and you've left signature pieces here. So I'm hopeful in that regard. As we get down more to the micro of the city, it's the excuses are done. There's a Democrat in the White House, Democrat in the State House, democratically controlled State House, new state's attorney, Democrats everywhere. It's no excuses. Get it done. What I think, however, is we have to be bold. We can't try to appease people. If anyone's taken any business management classes or what have you, and you look at businesses that have had to be taken over because they weren't performing, they didn't come in and keep doing the same thing. They made some big shakeups, and some even were logos, maybe even a name change. They used to be owned by so and so, now they're owned by such and such, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And some people got to go, and that's just the way it is, because the way we've been doing things for so long isn't working, and we should never be comfortable in the space that we're in. There are some positives that I've seen in 2023 so far. The calendar is just a marker for us. The bad guys don't look at it and say, okay, we got a new year of killing. No, they're not looking at it. They continue on. So there have been some positives, but how long and how sustainable is it going to be? And, there are some things to talk about from an education standpoint. My friend Carl Stokes was really, really former city councilman, and has been involved. He ran a school in the city, and he's been really fired up about the lack of investment and lack of verbiage from our Black leaders who know and see the success, but see a potential pitfall coming, and nobody's saying anything. So we have a responsibility, any of us who have a voice, to amplify some of what's going on, and we've seen some people decide to stay mute.
Here's another run for political office in your future, TJ Smith. We're putting you on the spot.
Who you talking to? Better watch me run right off this camera. No,
Hey, the people want to know.
Done.
We're speaking for the people.
I'm done in 20. So, and I'll say why, because I get asked that question all the time. And if I was going to do it, the support is totally different today than it was then. And I had a good amount of support back then. But COVID hit during my campaign. And as we all went through the moment, one big theme was going around. Maybe this is a time to pause and reflect. And some of us did it. Some said they did it, and some reverted right back to what they were before. I actually did it, and I've lived by it since. And imagine running a race. I don't know if anybody's a marathon runner. No, we all black. We ain't running no marathon. But if you're doing anything that requires distance, endurance, or whatever, and they stop you 3/4 of the way through, and then an hour later tell you can start again, you might, if it's a 26.2-mile marathon and you've run 22 miles of it and they stop you for hours, say, oh, you can go ahead and finish the last 4 miles. You probably look at them like, nah, I ain't doing it. And that's kind of what happened with our race. March, everything shut down. The primary was in April. It was pushed until June. I went ahead and completed it, but through those few months, I refocused, and the next several months, rebooted, and said, nah, ain't doing it. That was the moment. I had too much time to pause. I ain't got it in me no more.
All right. Let me ask you another Baltimore sports question before we let you go as well. The Orioles, they keep talking about the lease of Camden Yards. Do you think that they're not going anywhere?
Man, ain't going nowhere. Look, that can't happen. And it's probably some people with tracking devices on John Angelos and the whole Angelos family at this point. We saw what happened in '84 with the Colts. Some legislation went in to forbid something like that from happening the way it did again. As much as this team loves its Ravens, this is an Oriole, still an Oriole, city. And there is absolutely no way. I think they're probably trying to use a little leverage to get the upgrades they want to their facility, because all the moves are about facilities at the end of the day. And the Orioles still have one of the best facilities in all of baseball. And there are some packages to put, I think, about $1.2 billion between the two stadiums for upgrades. And it's probably just some, we'll do a short-term thing. But y'all make sure y'all go ahead and pass that money through so we can ink the long-term deal. So they ain't going nowhere. There's a better chance of Lamar getting a guaranteed contract bigger than Deshaun Watson's than the Orioles leaving this town. Lamar ain't getting that contract. So,
my last question is this for you: does Lamar Jackson get traded?
Man, that's. I might not be able to tell you that because that might be a parlay bet.
Hey.
I really think it's 50-50 at this point. I think that if the Ravens are in those negotiations and they're trying to hold out to the very last moment, and it gets to that point where they said this guy wants $265 million fully guaranteed over 6 years, we aren't giving it to him. It's a line in the sand. You absolutely trade him. And I'll say it again. I'm going to double down on this. If they franchise tag him, I would think a trade is imminent, because I wouldn't play him under the franchise tag next year. I hate to be like this, but what's the point? You have what you have for his record over the last 2 years are injuries that ended his season. And you put him under the franchise tag. One, does he play? Two, what if he gets injured again? His capital drops even more.
Yeah.
Franchise, trade him to a willing partner, and you have to move on. And fans are fickle. And this is Baltimore's fickle. They hate you until you win it again. And it's like, oh, it should have been gone. And, when I do radio, there are two topics that can fill up my entire blocks: Squeegee Boys and Lamar Jackson. And any more divided on those two issues than anything else I talk about.
How can the people keep go Crevonte? Go Crevonte.
Last one. This is gonna be a fun one. There was a recent documentary on ESPN 30 for 30, like the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Super Bowl of their first Super Bowl, arguably one of the best defenses of all time. What was your favorite part, and why was it Tony Siragusa?
Wow. Look, I'm telling you, man, the personalities on that team, and going back to that time when we had Brian Billick as the head coach, we used to just me and some of my friends get a kick out of him because of just the stuff that came out of his mouth. I mean, he was the perfect coach with the perfect ego that matched the big egos that they had on that team. But I mean, Saragusa, the story was telling about getting a laxative with the enema, I think it was. I mean, the guy is a character. To think he died a month later, but I mean, that team, there's so much there. I mean, I can go back because we were the first ones on that Hard Knocks, and watching it live, seeing the rookie play Shannon Sharp. I mean, it's hilarious. And then seeing him come out there was really cool that they found him and brought him back out or whatever. But I mean, that defense just, it's like these generations, we want to try to talk about LeBron and compare him to Jordan, and Jordan didn't take days off. These cats get days off. The contact is a little different than it was at the time. Same thing in football. Chris McAllister couldn't play in this football. He was successful back then, but he couldn't play in this football. We were seeing some of those hits that were going on back then. That was in the days of you got jacked up. You remember Tom Jackson on ESPN?
Yeah.
He had to stop doing it because of the concussions. But during that time of that team, that's what they were known for, big hits. You can't do that stuff today. So you'll never see a defense like that ever again, just because the league has gone away from that style of football. You can't shut out that many teams. You can't. You can't do it in football. One team can't do it. But it was and big shout out to Carlos. Good dude there too.
Yes, shout out to Carlos.
Yeah.
We need you back on the show, Carlos. We need you to call Lamar.
Small
call
world.
Lamar.
Yeah, work it out.
Yeah.
But it's that team, that dynamic, and that's the thing with our Super Bowl teams, the personality there, and then a totally different personality for the 2012 team, that squad. But man, that 2000, man, I had my son rewatching that game, and he also watched the Bullies ball, but he's 10, so he doesn't have any memory of either Super Bowls, but he already has fallen in love with the 2000 team, because those personalities, you can't help yourself. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic and bullish on the Ravens with or without Lamar, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer when I say that. I just think that the franchise has a proven track record. I mean, since our inception in 1996, there are only a few other teams in the same conversation, and their names aren't the Cowboys or the Commanders. They're Patriots, they're Steelers, they're the Giants winning a couple of Super Bowls, Broncos back in the day won a couple, but it's very few. It's Ravens. They're in the top tier of teams since they've come into this league, and that hasn't changed. They've been consistent. So
yeah, right. we're spoiled, TJ. We're spoiled.
We are spoiled.
Yeah, very much so. I mean,
spoiled
Pittsburgh
and entitled.
wanted to chase Tomlin out of town. I mean, there's a lot of people who want Harbaugh gone. It's like you don't know how difficult it is and how lucky we've been, and that continuity matters.
Blessed.
Right.
Blessed.
I know we keep saying one more question, but you brought it up. You talked about Michael Jordan and you brought LeBron James up.
Mr. Smith, get on out of here, man.
Look,
don't start this up, man.
I'm glad he's bringing it up, because I'm not no different than last night. I'm not a Rihanna fan. I don't have any of her songs downloaded on my phone. I don't have her CDs or whatever. But she put on, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it, and I knew all the songs. I'm not, if I was still in the posters on my wall, LeBron might not be there, and Jordan still would be there. It's an era thing. If if anyone doesn't want to consider him among the greats, then they're not real fans of basketball. Now, arguably, probably wouldn't like the fact that I don't have Tupac in my top 5. It's kind of like the rap top 5.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about the top 3 to 5 basketball players, most of the time the same names are going to be mentioned. They're just going to be moved to different sections. And I mean, LeBron's a freak of nature. I mean, the guy's a specimen, and he's a good guy. From the PR side of me, the PR world, his biggest decision was the decision. And ironically, what people don't realize, a lot of people don't remember, the reason he did it, where he did it, and why he did it was to donate that money to the Boys and Girls Club. But it came out horribly wrong. That's when a good thing can go bad. So I think that made him the villain. And then when you go to a team with other legit stars, it diminished it, because nobody knew Scottie Pippen until Michael Jordan helped put him on the map. So I think that's where it kind of just felt different. Nobody looked at, people don't understand how big of a deal the defense and rebounding is with Dennis Rodman. They just, he can only get 3 points a game. That's all people were looking at. But he kind of had a super team as well, but it was just built different. So Michael.
There you go, Michael. That's right, Michael.
Cool.
Look, you got some agreements with Carlos. Just made another statement. Can we bring that up, Byron?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
I just had the same argument with I like to call him Mayor Tate, but Mayor Scott. I just had the same argument with him a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
all
it's
of y'all
an
are
era
saying
thing.
good.
I mean, look at some of Wilt Chamberlain's numbers and what he did during his time. I mean, again, it's just certain things that just aren't going to happen. I mean, I think back to '92 when Shaq came in the league. This dude broke, I think, 2 backboards in the league back in '92. We ain't seen that happen since. I mean, it's just certain things that they course correction ain't going to happen again, and we'll be lucky to see another LeBron. I mean, hey, y'all argue with me or y'all can argue amongst yourselves. Michael, Kobe, LeBron, whatever. I mean, Kobe's still the killer instinct of Kobe. If LeBron had the killer instinct of Kobe or Michael, he probably would have more rings than Bill Russell right now. But he wants basketball. Yeah, you shoot. No,
Mike
you
dropped
got no
from
argument
TJ
from
Smith.
me.
It's a bunch of Lakers fans up here too, TJ. So they over there smiling.
Well, y'all gonna be going home very soon.
Look, they getting beat like a drum tonight.
Tell them something.
Easy.
They might not even make it.
So easy to let basically the entire NBA in the playoffs. The Lakers still ain't gonna make it.
They getting beat like a drum tonight, TJ. How can the people keep up with you, brother?
At TJ Smith Social across the whole social media world, and tjsmithmedia.com on the web, and all my links are there. So I'm around, accessible all the time. So yeah.
We appreciate you. We gotta get you back on if you want to come back.
Yes,
yeah, man, appreciate it, fellas. Great conversation tonight. Y'all be safe. Sorry for your loss, my man, today. We just wanted to say that, and appreciate it. Appreciate everybody for having me. Thank you.
Appreciate the
Thank
good
you,
work,
TJ.
man. I came in the room one day. My lady was watching TV. I saw TJ Smith on TV. I said, the brother's on the TV one. They got him on the show. What is it? Fatal Attraction?
Yeah, Fatal Attraction and Payback. I do the stuff for you.
Hey man, they some good shows. But I was a little bullish at first, and I'm like, it's actually pretty good. A couple of them was here. I said, check my surroundings, TJ.
Yeah, it's crazy. We have a couple more on the way. One on oh gosh, I should remember the guy's name. Bay Area rapper that was killed in 2004.
Mac Dre?
What's his name?
Was it Mac Dre?
Mac Dre.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
That's coming up. And also one that I pitched, and I'm happy that we can get it on. I wish we didn't have to, but Lil Scooter from here in Baltimore,
wow.
2016
Wow.
case.
Okay.
Hey,
So
keep us posted. We'll definitely spread the word
Yeah.
and put it out on our podcast.
yeah, those both are going to be on payback because it involved just the back and forth violence and so many lives lost, so many black lives lost to absolute nonsense. So, yep.
Follow him. You know him. You love
Yep.
him. TJ Smith. He'll be back. Keep it up.
Yes.
Keep up the great work, TJ. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a
Yes,
good
Thank you.
night.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Give it up again for TJ Smith, everybody. Blessing us here on the Flex On podcast.
yes.
So many jewels, so much knowledge. Mic drop at the end. Whoo, wonderful. Another illustrious guest. Big shout out to him. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, I see you guys in here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, vote on the poll. Let us know how many rings Mahomes is going to get. Speaking of Mahomes, Super Bowl 57 is in the books. Chiefs
Tribal Chief.
outlast the Eagles 38-35. Mahomes, second Super Bowl ring, second Super Bowl MVP, first Super Bowl MVP, and MVP since Kurt Warner in 1999. Mahomes, 3 touchdowns on one leg. Jalen Hurts, he did hold his own, but a holding call at the end on Juju Smith-Schuster by James Bradbury. Was it a hold? Was it not a hold? It was a hold. Bradbury said it was a hold. Game had a little bit of everything. Raj, we won last night, so I'll get you last. You guys can check out the post-game show. Early wee hours of the morning. Shout out to Big Raj, keeping me on my toes. But Crevonte, let's start with you, brother. I know you were on the Chiefs the past, I guess, all 4 years. They've been pretty much in the Super Bowl. What, 3 Super Bowl trips in 4 years, and 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4. How you feeling, brother? Kansas City Chiefs are champs again, and breaking news, they're the favorites yet again already.
So I was able to catch. I wasn't able to get on, but I was able to catch you guys before you guys got off, and I was commenting quite a bit. And no, Raj, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I was clear mind. We're in the
Yo.
right train. I told you. I tried to tell. I tried to tell him. I tried to tell him. Dre was acting a plumb fool. Hey, Raj, Byron,
Hey,
y'all can imagine. Dre.
Hey, I know he was acting a plumb fool at halftime.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But he was doing all this goofiness. He was doing all this, and I was like, I just looked at him in disgust because I was like, you know who's on the other side of the field. Wait till he get back. But and you know, all year, guys, I looked at all the moves the AFC West teams made, and I said, just shrug my shoulders. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, the Chargers defense got better. Got Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. Yeah. The Raiders, Devontae Adams. They had Crosby on one side. I think they got Chandler Jones as another end. Denver Broncos. They got the big fish, Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we've all said, hey, they're a quarterback away. They got a top 10, top 5 defense. Let's ride. Here I go. I don't care. I just there was nothing. Listen, you gotta knock these balls. You gotta show me you could knock these balls off and knock them off consistently. Because Joe Burrow did it. They split 1-1 in the AFC Championship. Yeah, Joe Burrow still holds the he has a better winning percentage, but AFC Championships is 1-1. And you just got to prove to me that you can knock off Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And if you don't prove that to me, that's what I'm going in. And next year is going to be the same thing. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they're going to figure it out. No Tyreek Hill. I just don't. There was nothing that fazed me. Absolutely nothing. Now, high ankle sprain, I was phased. I was concerned. Right before halftime, when he looked like he was agonizing in pain, I said, "Oh boy, this ain't looking good." But came back after halftime. Halftime was a little bit longer because they have a whole halftime show. It's a whole production. It's all for entertainment, so it's a little bit longer. Gave more time for EB and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. to make some adjustments. And you can tell as soon as they came out firing. Patrick Mahomes only had one incompletion the entire second half. One. And it was a throwaway. One incompletion.
He's coming back, Carlos. He already said it.
Yeah. He
They going for.
He'll run it back at least one more time. And you know the Eagles did a phenomenal job in the first half. How they played the first half was how you're supposed to play the entire game. They had the ball about 21 minutes at halftime. 21 minutes. They had the ball about 21, 22 minutes. Literally, Patrick Mahomes and the offense scored on their first drive, and I really didn't see Patrick Mahomes the rest of the half. They were up 10, 24, 14, and you know the best thing that Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs could have done was defer, so they get the ball at the halftime. So they pick right back up, pick it up. They scored. They had 4 possessions and scored on every drive. 3 touchdowns and the last one being a field goal. Listen, guys, I've been saying it all year. Even when that Jalen Hurts talk was going about MVP, I said no. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's absolutely Patrick Mahomes. Now, read off a couple of things to y'all. Hold on, let me find it. Patrick Mahomes, the first quarterback in NFL history to lead the league in passing yards and win the Super Bowl in the same season. Patrick Mahomes is 14-9 when trailing by 10 plus points, including the playoffs. No other quarterback has a winning percentage over 40% when trailing by 10. Patrick Mahomes is the first player to win MVP and the Super Bowl in the same season since 1999. That was Kurt Warner. The Chiefs are also the first team to win the opening coin toss and win the Super Bowl. I had no idea that it has not happened in about 10 years. Literally, if you won the coin toss, you lost the Super Bowl. 0 turnovers, 0 punts, 0 penalties, and in the second half. No sacks allowed, 1 incompletion, scored on all 4 drives. And I threw a stat in there while y'all was talking last night. One of 3 to have multiple regular season MVPs and multiple Super Bowl MVPs, and it's in a class. This class is very small, very intimate class with Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and Patrick Mahomes. Listen, the brother can start playing right now. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Right.
So Crevonte, to answer the poll, how many more rings you think he gets?
He'll get to 5, I think.
Only 27, by the way.
I think he get the 5. And the only reason I'm saying I'm putting it low is because the AFC is so tough, and they're all around the same age. And actually, a couple guys are younger than him. But I tell you, if he goes, he's gonna win. That's how I feel. I feel like if he goes, he's going to win. He's not losing. But I think 5. He could get the 7, but he needs a lot of luck. But I think he will have 5. I'll definitely say he'll get to 5.
Dre, you want to hop in there real quick? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Crevonte, finish your thought.
But Jalen Hurts played phenomenal. Okay,
He's going to get paid.
Phenomenal. I mean, 2 touchdowns. We had 2 touchdowns on the ground and 1 in the air.
3 rushing touchdowns, most
3
rush
rushing
yards by
touchdowns.
quarterback in the Super Bowl history. Pretty much played a perfect game outside that fumble, which was the deciding factor. We talk about momentum. That was the momentum play. Because remember, Kansas City missed a field goal as well. Then they came back and fumbled.
Sure did. Outside of that one mistake. But my thing is, make mistakes, he comes back. Even when Kansas City took the lead and it was up by 8, he went right down there. Got the touchdown, got the 2 points. He played an outstanding game. But when you have an elite level quarterback, I don't care how good that defense is. Elite quarterbacks find a way. elite quarterbacks absolutely find a way, and Patrick Mahomes did. That Eagles, I don't think he was sacked all game.
Nope,
I think
Mahomes wasn't sacked. Hurts was only sacked once. So we talked about the pass rush. It was virtually non-existent.
none of that. And also, Patrick Mahomes was throwing to a lot of young boys out there: Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, and of course Travis Kelce. I mean, you know, the Eagles said I think they said the Eagles had the best pass defense leading going into the game. Patrick Mahomes, just didn't matter. Just did not matter, and well deserved. And the brother will be back.
Go ahead, Drizzy Drew.
Carlos, are the two mistakes you're talking about, is it the punt return and the fumble? The fumble instantly comes to mind, but I'm just wondering. So if you mind chiming that in as to what if we're on the same page as the mistakes that you're talking about. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, like I said, let me do this. Let me say, Tribal Chief, I acknowledge him. He did it
Make
again.
sure we clip that, Raj. We got to clip that. Put that up tomorrow.
he did it again. You know, everybody. I was the only one on this panel. I thought the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hold on.
Oh, the holding penalty. That was a mistake too. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Crevonte threw some stats out. I mean, since Kurt Warner, nobody has won MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same season. So I mean, that's wild. And then also he trailblazed the way for the NFL, because to have multiple MVPs and championships within their first 6 seasons had never been done in the NFL before. But some of the names that he joined that list were Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Joe DiMaggio, Bill Russell, Wayne Gretzky, just to name a few.
He had to go to other sports. He had to go to other sports for that.
But never been done in the NFL. So Patrick Mahomes, man, that's a bad man. When he went out with the ankle, I was like, oh snap! I was like, Philadelphia done took him out too. But he came back in there. Maybe he got a
He got that vibranium like LeBron, Dre. He's impenetrable. Look, Lamar ain't been back since. Patrick Mahomes playing on one leg. Josh Allen playing with one arm. Pissed me off, man. Lamar should be playing. But anyway, go ahead, Dre.
But I mean, you know, in the end, like Carlos said, it was just a few mistakes. I don't really think I don't hold the holding penalty that much weight. And the reason I don't do it is because I felt like the Chiefs were going to score to me either way. The only difference is I think that it would have given the Eagles time. But the Eagles offense reminds me of how the Ravens were when we first got into the playoffs with Lamar Jackson, where it's limited long drives and you're not going to be able to hit those quick plays in order to get you down the field. I feel like Jalen Hurts still has to kind of grow a little bit with that. Yes, he has the receivers, but I don't feel like he has it yet to do that. And I feel like that takes time, because I mean, we saw that with Lamar Jackson. It took time. If you want try to get those quick points to either win the game or tie the game. So I just didn't feel like the Eagles did it. I felt like, to me, the turning point in the game was the fumble. I think once that fumble happened, it shifted the momentum for Kansas City. And then also you saw, when you think about it, because that was a touchdown, if the Eagles don't do that and they drive again, game's over. I know Patrick Mahomes can come back, but I just felt like that was it to me when that happened, because that killed the momentum right there. The Philadelphia Eagles, who I thought were doing a great job in that first half, running the football, things like running the football, playing good defense. Those were going to be the things that limited Patrick Mahomes. And I felt like once Patrick Mahomes would have got limited, not being on the field, I felt like those were the formulas for the Eagles to win the football game. I felt like they kind of took their foot off the gas, and didn't make any adjustments in the second half. While like Crevonte said, the normal period is what, about maybe 15 minutes or less for a halftime show. I mean, yeah, for a regular halftime, but when a Super Bowl, of course, like you said, you're gonna have an extended time, which means you really can make adjustments. And because they were really able to make the adjustments, you saw the the old cliche of the master and the student, where Nick still is going through some growing pains, while Andy Reid seen it all and done it all. And especially with that being the offensive mind that he is, and then to have the quarterback that he has, this is just a recipe for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady part two right here. What we're seeing in the making. Yes, Andy Reid said he's coming back, but how much longer does Andy Reid have with this? Um, these are some of the questions that remain to be seen. We talked about Eric Bieniemy, and maybe Eric Bieniemy stays put until he can get the job with Kansas City, similar to what um, they did over in Tampa Bay. The head coach just isn't coming to mind, but
Bruce
maybe it
Arians.
could be Bruce Arians. Maybe that
Your
can be
BA.
that. Maybe that could be that type of transition. So we'll see. But again, hats off to the Tribal Chiefs. Congrats to them, because they handled their business the way that they should have. The Philadelphia Eagles, I think that they're going to come back. Um, if not to the Super Bowl, but at least be in contention. But you saw that there were still some growing pains with them. And I also think one thing that hurt them too, people keep talking about them not being tested. And that may have factored in too, because the Chiefs went through a lot of adversity in the AFC. And like you said, Crevonte, the AFC has just gotten stacked. It's kind of like how the West is in the NBA versus the East. You just have to go through tougher competition. I mean, the Chiefs, he's gone through Burrow, he's gone through
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, excuse me, and then in the regular season, he already saw Josh Allen. So you see his division, even though you say it's still it's not an easy division though. So compared to what the Eagles had to face this year, because they only faced Dak Prescott one time. Um, they even in the playoffs, they faced, by that time they faced the Giants three times. Um, the 49ers were depleted. So um, I think that some of the things that just factored in, you could see why the Chiefs just on this day were just a little bit better. And sometimes that's all you need to be, is just a little bit better. And you see what happens. And that makes a championship caliber team.
First time for the Eagles playing behind all postseason as well. This was the toughest competition for sure, Raj.
Hey man, I said most of what I needed to say yesterday. I'm not going to sit here today and kiss Mahomes' ass some more. Yes, he's a great quarterback. Yes, he has two Super Bowl rings. Yes, he has two MVPs. Um, the first to ever do it since Kurt Warner in 1999. He's great. He went to Disney World today. He got a shape up. He had sex with the wife. He did all that. Congrats to him. Um, but like y'all said before, the Eagles kind of blew it. I think they had to win. They did have it, but Jalen Hurts with that damn fumble cost them, and that little grab that Bradbury did kind of cost them as well. And they had like a little in between stuff as well too. But it is what it is, man. I do agree with Crevonte though. I do think that Patrick Mahomes probably will get the 5 rings. I'm not sure when he'll get to them, but I'm pretty sure he'll have a good enough squad that he can, get back to the AFC Championship game and to the Super Bowl as many times as he wants. Especially with the only competition right now being the Bengals. This could be the Ravens, Byron. This could be the Ravens in a couple of years, but the way this organization is ran, I don't know, man. I don't really have faith right now in them. They got to show me something. That To be honest with you, they're pussyfooting around because they should have been outside. Matter of fact, they should have been out. They should have been outside the stadium for Eric B. Enemy. They shouldn't even wait after the. Oh, no. They should after the champagne clear it up or whatever. They should have been right outside, like how Magic Johnson was right outside LeBron's house at 12:01 to sign him. That's how the Ravens should have been at Eric B. Enemy in the Super Bowl, just right outside those doors and just waiting to sign him.
Well, apparently he's waiting till after the parade, which I think
I don't
is
give a
goofy.
damn. They should have still been.
He's
there.
being goofy. I think.
They should have went to the parade and they should have just been there. It don't matter. They should have just been there. Period.
It's giving. He don't want to leave for real.
I don't give a
He don't
damn.
want to leave for real.
Look, he's not renewing his
show me.
contract. He got to go.
You got to show me something. You got to show me something. But screw the Ravens right now. This the tribal chief, Patrick Mahomes. He was great. He was great. But again, though, I we haven't talked about this, but damn it, that Super Bowl, man. I had to go back and watch it again, honestly, man. And I know you saw some of those moves that those men was doing to Rihanna, trying to impregnate her yet again, because she's already pregnant. But you know they got to do it. I mean, they was just doing this. I mean, I don't know what this was.
Yo, Dre!
I know Dre was trying to do that move too. He was trying to do that move at Shane's house.
It was like, me. It was me.
You? Oh, it was you. Okay. Oh, wow.
Look at you. Look at you.
It was me. Yo, the one that was on the top levels was just god dang. It was like, hey. I said, oh, look at him.
Oh my goodness, but man, it was man. People crapped on the performance, but I enjoyed it, man, for what it was. I really did. Even though she's pregnant, I thought it was a good performance, man. And you know, sometimes they do a little too much. You know, a little. She did a little smelling of the. You know, I ain't gonna go into further detail, but she smelled something. And you know, but whatever.
I missed that part. What was I doing?
Oh, you didn't see that part when she grabbed.
I did. I missed that part too.
Whoa! All right, what happened? Because I'm not gonna go back and rewatch it.
Okay, she did the little smell test, you know, to see if her private area was freshly scented, you know. But
I'm sure ASAP made sure she was Irish.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Shout out to him.
You said yes, Irish Spring.
It was a little raunchy, but
please tell me you didn't say Irish Spring, bro. That joint no.
Something.
Oh hell no.
Not for the ladies. Not for the ladies.
No, not for the men either. That joint is harsh, man. Times ain't that hard no more, man.
But we're gonna move on from this Super Bowl. Like I said before, shout out to Pat Mahomes and them boys. They got it done again. They're the favorites for next year. Until a team can actually knock them off and win a Super Bowl, I just think this is going to continue to be a trend, man. I mean, it is what it is. He's great. I can't even deny it. I want to deny it. I don't really like the brother like that, but his greatness is great.
Do you acknowledge the tribal chief? Say it, damn it. Say it.
My tribal chief, Patrick Mahomes, I acknowledge you.
Thank you.
Yes.
We clipped that as well. Make sure you in the chat acknowledge the Flex Zone, hit that like button, hit that bell, hit that subscribe button. But let's let this one. It's the last game of the 2022 NFL season. You know the offseason is very, very entertaining. We got to give out one more game ball, not so game ball, for the last time this season, Raj. And since you're on screen, my brother, doing the choreography of the Rihanna backup dancer with all men. Let's get your game ball, not so game ball. And it doesn't have to be from the Super Bowl. It could be just from the season as a whole. Or anybody you want to slide one more time.
Yo, Byron Raj, before you go real quick. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts only has 2 losses this season when he started. Mm-hmm. And you know who the 2 quarterbacks he lost to?
Tyler, what y'all quarterback?
Well, did he play those games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he lost to y'all quarterback, and
he played against the Commanders,
and he lost to the Saints quarterback.
No, he didn't play. He didn't play.
He didn't play the Saints game.
He lost to the Cowboys, didn't he?
No.
Yeah, he did.
He lost to Heineke. No, because Garner Minshew played against the Cowboys. He lost to Taylor Heineke and Patrick Mahomes. Only 2 quarterbacks he lost to all year.
Oh wow!
And Sam Howell was the starting quarterback for 2023 for the Commanders. So Call
I
that
don't mind
goofy or
it.
whatever.
I don't mind
Okay.
it.
All right.
I don't mind it.
Insert Greg Roman.
Real quick, Crevonte, while I got you on screen. Real quick. Yes, Greg Roman is interviewing, I believe, tomorrow. Crevonte, we may have some Washington Commanders news coming to the channel. We'll keep our eyes on that as well. Real quick, Greg Roman, yay or nay? You don't have to go. You don't have to go far into it because you guys might have a coordinator before we do, at least.
So it's a nay for me. He has a clear ceiling, and it's in the passing game. No matter where he's gone, he's had a top-notch, a top-tier running game, and the passing game has suffered. We have some great weapons on the outside. We don't need to be suffering in the passing game.
Very well said.
Thank you,
And
sir.
with that, my game ball for the season is gonna go to Patrick Mahomes. It's just gonna go to him. He's been perfect from jump, even without Tyreek Hill, who was being extremely goofy
Petty and goofy, yes.
and very petty, talking about Tua's better. Tua can do this. No,
So it's
granted,
more accurate.
Tua's more accurate. No, granted,
Reaching. Cap.
he played. He was really really great this year. I'm not going to say he wasn't. Tyreek Hill was a monster. Had put
Yes,
up
he was.
monster yards and touchdowns. So he was great. But you still can't say that, man, because it's Patrick Mahomes and he's just a beast. But he gets my game ball for the entire season because he's been great and they won the Super Bowl. So like hats off to him again. My not so game ball, if anything, it'll probably have to go to the Buffalo Bills, man. Because I think that I thought that this was their year. After what happened to them the year prior when they lost to the Chiefs. And they beat the Chiefs in the regular season. And I was like, you know what? This might be their year. This might be the time they finally get over the hump and they get to the Super Bowl and and whatchamacallit, Mr. Allen is playing his ass off. And then they go up against the Cincinnati Bengals in the snow at home and lay a complete and utter egg. So they get my not so game ball. They was a good team, but they're never going to get over the hump at this point. I don't see it. They're just going to continue to keep doing the same thing they've been doing since the early
Well,
90s.
well, speaking of not getting over the hump, I'll go next. The Dallas Cowboys.
God damn it, I hate both of y'all. Sheesh, man.
I mean, that literally Raj threw it up, and that just was like, like couldn't help that joy. Talk about a disappointment. For some reason, every year they in the damn mix. Just be talking about winning a Super Bowl, and I'm like, how? They ain't going nowhere. I think we just really need to come to the realization they talking about Dak Prescott. No, it's just the whole organization overall. They just not going nowhere, and we really need to cut the cap. Like you could just see
Cut the cap. We talking salary cap or we talking about lying?
cut it all because they ain't going nowhere. I just don't understand this. And then what was even more goofier with the Cowboys this season is the backup quarterback when he was in there, and they were talking
Just
about
winning. Just winning.
and they were talking about how he should be the starter over Dak Prescott. I was like, please stop. That was just, that was just one of those things. But had he kept going, he wouldn't have lasted. So the Dallas Cowboys get my not so game ball, and then I guess I have to give my game ball to the Philadelphia Eagles because yes, they made it to the Super Bowl, but we seen the growth of Jalen Hurts, and we all speculate that he's going to get paid as he should. I mean, he was a runner up in the MVP conversation this year. He had his team as the number one seed in the NFC. Um, he made improvements and his team almost won the Super Bowl. So I think it should go to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that is a complete team. Yes, they have holes just like any other team, but the fact that they were able to still go to the Super Bowl and the accomplishments that they had, especially with their quarterback, who's only going to get better and better, who also made history because he has the most rushing yards by a quarterback in a Super Bowl game too. So shout out to the city of Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Eagles. The only thing I'm upset about is I couldn't get me a cheesesteak, man. I was hoping that I could go to the parade and stop at some of my favorite places, but you know what? Maybe like TJ Smith said, we can have the Bird Bowl next year.
Well, Dre, if you just join us for WrestleMania, we'll be out there next year.
That is true. So that means we may have 2 times that we in Philadelphia then.
Start low and high. Also, they were booing Dak when they gave him the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So no love. No
You
love.
know how Philly get down. You know how Philly get
No
down,
love for the
especially it being the Cowboy quarterback. Come on now.
An award that has nothing to do with football.
No, they said man of the year. Boo this guy. Boo.
Helping out your community, giving back. Hell no.
Boo, you suck. Get off the field.
Only Philadelphia.
Yo, that's how they get down. And that's why Dak Prescott didn't say, he said, I know, I understand. Shoot, they booed LeBron too. Okay. So I'm going back and forth between the Denver Broncos and the LA Rams. I don't know. Probably the Rams were probably the biggest disappointment. Just the complete fall off from winning the championship last year to being arguably, arguably the worst team in that division. That was a huge fall off. But also the Broncos. But I'll say the Rams. The Rams, not so game ball for the year. Game ball. Game ball is going to go to Andy Reid. Andy Reid doing it with 2 organizations, the winningest coach for Philadelphia, and now with the championship win is the winningest coach for the Kansas City Chiefs with 2 rings. He's in the elite category right now with a head coach with multiple rings, an umpteenth number of wins, just 2. He could have 2 separate Hall of Fame careers, one with the Eagles and one with the Chiefs. And he's just he all he does is win. With how I go, Dre. All he does is win. All he does is
no
win.
matter what. Oh, you talking about the Tim Tebow? He's a winner. He's a gamer. He's a baller and a shot caller.
And he's a tuna.
Shot caller.
He's a tuna, and he likes cheeseburgers. And that route, the play to Kadarius Toney when he was butt naked, wide open. The play was called corn dog, which was, I'm sure, Andy Reid coined that. But
hey, you look, Big Red likes to eat, man. Leave him alone.
Big Red get down. Big Red get down. And he in Kansas City, I know he be killing them at the barbecue.
He never had to pay for a meal again.
I'm sure.
No. Yeah, after that first meal, yeah. Now they probably roll out the red carpet for him.
Oh man, let's switch gears. Let us know your game ball, not so game ball for the 2022 NFL season. Crazy to believe that the season is already over, but we'll be getting back to it real soon. Should be an interesting off season.
What? Only 8 weeks before like the draft.
So, yeah, combine is next month. Free agency starts next month, so we will keep you busy and keep you up to date on everything. But before we got to the Super Bowl this past week, and right after LeBron broke the record, there was a seismic earthquake in the NBA world, and might have knocked his hairline back a little further. But he is going from Brooklyn, as they finally got rid of Kevin Durant. He is headed to the Phoenix Suns. And crazy thing, I didn't even realize this. Still has 3 years left on his deal. So all these people that want to say, "Oh, he got to win a ring now," he still got 3 more years. Him and Devin Booker. We'll see what happens with Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton still there, just got paid. Lakers load up. Bucks add Jay Crowder. I think it was 49 players. I think moved total.
Yikes.
Most in NBA history.
And Crowder moved twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dre, I want to start with you, brother. I mean, I got KD to the Suns. You want to touch on the Lakers or anything? How you feel about the trade deadline, man? Is Phoenix now the team to beat in the West?
Let me just say this before we start with KD. Kyrie! No, shout out to that brother, man. He is hilarious with them videos. No, KD to the Suns. While it's a huge move, um, I'm and our mayor agrees with this too. They're not going to the finals this year. I mean, we both could be proven wrong. We'll see, but I just don't see it. I think that, to me, the reason I say that they're not going to make it yet to the finals, it's just not enough time in the season. I think that's the only thing that I have some issue with the NBA trade deadline, because right after the All-Star break, you basically start a race to the playoffs at this point. Um, so I think that they just don't have enough time to build chemistry with those three, and by the time that happens, they'll be okay for the playoffs. But I think that they won't make it to their ultimate goal. And like you said, Byron, he's got 3 years left on his deal, so they do have time to work that chemistry out the off season. Um, Same thing with the Mavericks. I just don't see that it being enough time yet. Um, so I still would nod my head at the Nuggets right now, but we'll see. I think that the Bucks move. I think that that may have propelled them to, because I know they wanted Crowder, and I think that that may have propelled them um, to go back to the finals over the Boston Celtics. But we shall see. As far as the Lakers, they made some good moves. Um, I do wish that they would have dubbed the season and let Westbrook walk, so that way they could just be cap friendly in a lot of ways. Um, but I mean, D'Angelo, that does help them a lot, because they did need some more shooting. Um, but I don't think that it's that big of a move where they're gonna make the. Um, if they do make the playoffs, they're not gonna go far either. So I don't think that their moves were that significant to get LeBron James his ultimate goal, which is another championship.
Go ahead, Raj. I'll continue to Laker love or lack thereof.
I mean, I like the moves, I guess. I mean, no. Seriously though, I mean, Russell. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of grown fond of Russell Westbrook over this year. I mean, he actually played pretty well coming
He
off
had to
the.
go.
I mean, he was being a little bit of an ass the last couple of weeks of the season, but he was playing well. I mean, that's all you can really ask is for somebody to play well and not pout too much, and he did exactly that. Um, D'Angelo Russell, we know what he is. We've seen him before. He's been here. Hopefully, they keep him away from LeBron's business so he won't be snitching on him. Um, but who else is on the
Think he
floor?
learned his lesson, man, from the snitching.
Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba. They traded your boy Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, that was the dumb thing to do. Thomas Bryant. I mean, he was balling out, but he wanted to get traded. They traded him right to being a backup center again to Djokovic and with the Nuggets. So whatever. But Mo Bamba, I guess he's okay. You know, he has a song with Shaq West or whatever. Shaq West has a song with his name in it. Whatever. Malik Beasley, he's goofy, but he can play. Vanderbilt is okay defensively. But we'll see what happens with this Laker team. I'm not really impressed with these moves. Anthony Davis is still soft at times and very injury prone. LeBron is out for right now since he broke the record.
He's
You know,
taking a couple days
he,
off.
he's
Wink,
Yeah.
wink.
feeling 30. He's feeling 38 now. All
No,
of a
no, he's
sudden,
taking a couple days off. He's fine. He feels fine.
um,
He feels fine.
but it is what it is. Now with the Kevin Durant situation now, him going to the Phoenix Suns, that's something to look at because they were missing a piece. I think Cam Johnson and Michael Bridges wasn't getting the job done, and I think Kevin Durant is the perfect person to put it at small forward position shore up that defense as well, especially with scorers like, Devin Booker on the squad and Chris Paul, and I think Cameron Payne is still on the team as well, and the center, Mr. Ayton. I think that's a dangerous team going into the playoffs, as long as they can stay healthy, of course. And like you said, Kevin Durant has 3 years, and I think right now he's still in his prime form, and he's not a banger like that. So he relies more on his jump shot. So I think he's going to be pretty good in this offense, especially this offensive system. And defensively, they're going to be fine going down the stretch. So I thought that was a major move for the Phoenix Suns. We already talked about the Kyrie situation on a previous episode, so it is what it is with him. I don't think they're going anywhere.
You
Who
lost
else?
again tonight.
Yeah, they lost again by 2 points.
Jay Crowder to your Bucks. I know you're big on the Bucks. You
Yeah,
were
Jay Crowder
right
is a
about
big
them.
move for the Bucks. They needed a guy like that, to shoot the ball,
Defend.
and defend as well. But we'll see what happens, man. I mean, the NBA was crazy. It was a bunch of trades that happened. The Lakers made a lot of them. And the Warriors, I think, got Gary Payton the second back. So
And he's
that's
hurt
that. He's hurt, but he won't be back to the playoffs. But
if they make it.
that is true if they make it into the play-in. But I mean, it's just it was a lot of moves. It was good to see that the league is thriving, especially off of these NBA trade deadlines. I did not expect that the last day. I mean, it felt mildly quiet. I was like, okay, so I guess nobody's getting traded. Then all of a sudden, trade. I'm like, God damn, I can't keep up with all this stuff now. Stop this mess. But it was an interesting day, man. It was pretty good. So I'm glad that Kevin Durant got what he wanted, and Kyrie got what he wanted, and Brooklyn is still
kinda.
being, and Brooklyn is still being goofy. So there you go.
Go ahead, Crevonte.
So the Lakers look better than they did beforehand. Not by much, but they do look better. I think getting rid of Russell Westbrook was the biggest thing. But they don't move the needle much. I think if Milwaukee's healthy, I think they're gonna win the championship. I think if Milwaukee Bucks, especially with the Drake Crowder move, if Middleton is mainly if Middleton is healthy, I think they're going to win the championship. Not the East. I think they're going to win the championship. Now the Suns, I agree with Drake. It's the turnaround time is too short to put Western Conference Finals or to put the finals as an expectation right now. And then of course they still have the bench to deal with. They're very, very top heavy. I hear Reggie Jackson may get bought out. And I think John Wall may get bought out too.
Yeah, this may be the biggest buyout season also. We talked about the trade deadline, but this buyout season, Reggie
sure.
Jackson, John Wall,
Kevin Love,
others, Kevin Love,
Steph Curry.
Sure.
Seth Curry. There are guys who will be bought.
So the Suns, it would be a great move to pick up one or a couple of those guys that could come off the bench and produce, because we all know what happens when you're top heavy. At some point, these boys gotta sit down and rest, or they will get burned out. One or the other. So the Suns next year will probably be the favorite coming out the West. I know that there was some other low key moves, but I think these were the biggest wow ones. So okay, for the Suns, Kevin Durant, great move. This is a last ditch effort for Chris Paul. I don't know how old is he now? He's 38, 39,
37.
Okay.
37 going on 30.
37 going to 43. Okay.
Basically.
So how much longer is Chris Paul going to be around? Because I mean, I thought his last chance at championship against the Bucks was his last shot. And now here comes Kevin Durant. So it's like, this is one more shot. But he's older. Them injuries stick on you a little bit longer. when you at his age. So if they don't do it this year, does Chris Paul have enough to come back next year? Because I don't think he has much left in the tank, guys. I'm just saying. I don't think it's that much left.
Play for him.
So, but Kevin Durant gets his opportunity. I'm sure he probably wanted to go there before Kyrie talked him into this goofy decision to go to Brooklyn. Hell, he could have been on that team, the team that went to the championship, and they probably would have won. But he does get a new opportunity, and we all know sometimes you just need to change the scenery. I feel like no matter where Kevin Durant goes, he's gonna play his game. He's still gonna continue to be very efficient and still get you somewhere between 25 and 30 plus points a game on limited number of shots. So he's not a ball, he doesn't need the ball all the time, which is great because that gives Devin Booker a little bit more time to shine. And of course, CP3 gonna get everybody the ball when they need the ball. You want to talk about Anthony Davis being soft? I think DeAndre Ayton's soft. I ain't gonna hold you. I think he's pretty soft. Hopefully, I don't know what you could do with that moving forward. He's a good player, but I just think he's not a banger. You know what I'm saying? But he is a 7-footer, and you can't teach 7 feet. So he's gonna get a lot of points and a lot of rebounds. They have a taller front court with Kevin Durant and DeAndre Ayton, so they should be better on the defensive side of the ball as well. So it was crazy, but usually that last week, them last couple of days, that everybody try to get their stuff in, and it just so happened to be jam packed this time. So it was crazier than crazier than it has been in recent memory.
Yeah, they traded Kevin Durant overnight.
Literally, we were asleep over here. Folks, folks was knocked out over here.
Well, no, I wasn't. I mean, sure.
Shout out to you, Raj. Appreciate you, brother. God's favorite host was getting God's favorite sleep. But as the nickname going around, the mid-range mafia, KD, Booker, Chris Paul, all do their best work in the mid-range. I know the 3-point shot is prevalent in the NBA, but they all can get to that spot, as you said, Crevonte, all pretty efficient. And Booker could go for 60. KD could give you 60. Chris Paul can probably pull out a 20 and 10 every now and then. And Ayton, if he's locked in, he can give you 20. I think he's averaging like 18 and 10. So he's having a career. He got paid, so he's happy. Got some greenbacks. Him and Monty Williams, who's a hell of a coach, seem to be getting along. So hey, can't help but root for Monty Williams. He deserves an opportunity to win a championship. And the Suns never have won an NBA title, so seeking their first championship as well. Crevonte, you ready to get goofy before we get out of here?
Sure. Jump into it.
All right. Let's get to the goofies of the week while I go grab Goofy. But Crevonte, you can do your thing.
Hey man. So welcome, good people. This is the post Super Bowl. I can't believe the NFL season is over. It seems like it always goes too fast. But this is our first Goofies of the week post Super Bowl, and of course look who's wrong here. Look who showed up. Oh man, Goofy has shown up. It's always good
back from the Super Bowl.
It's always good to hear from
Crevonte. They was slipping and sliding, looking real goofy on that turf, man. No wonder the Cardinals suck, by the way. That was terrible.
My gosh. So speaking of that, there's something I want to talk about. But before I get into that, I have 2 levels of goofiness that we deal with. We have use the Packer green or jet green. That's my low level goofy. Usually it was funny, hee ha ha. We laugh about it, we move on. Usually it's really low key, in the hopes that it does not become high key and become a high level goofy, to where as though we have to congregate and come together and possibly, I don't know, get a rule change because of so much goofiness going on. And that's with my high level Cardinal Red, because they were terrible all year. And it just so happened that their Super Bowl was in their building, which leads me to my first goofy. which is actually a low level goofy, and it was the grass. It was the grass.
How did I know?
And it's funny because it's low level green, and it actually tends to be a high level goofy because we've been talking about grass. Grass has been a thing over the last couple years, like how do I say, like grass health, foot health, turf monsters. Folks been having non-contact injuries and all that good stuff, and then of course, the Arizona Cardinals. It seems they only had one home win all year. And guess what? Patrick Mahomes has two in that building. But that's neither here nor there. But that's something that we, and by we I mean the NFL, have to actually look at, because it was a lot of stumbling going on in this Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl supposed to be clean cut. We supposed to get ready to go, and it seemed like a lot of guys were changing their cleats in and out because it wasn't good footing. I mean, from the defensive linemen, the DBs, the wide receivers, everybody was slipping and sliding. And I'm surprised we pretty much got out the game. I don't think it was no injuries, so that's a good thing. But when the footing's bad and you put all your pressure on it, you doing all these cuts and quick twitches and things like that, you can tear something. Like we see it happen all the time. The soft tissue injuries and the ligament injuries. That's has been a detriment to many skill positions out there. And it was grass. So it's like the issue was turf. And I don't know if this what particular this grass was called, but turf is a problem, and it seems like grass is a problem. So where do we go from here? Which means if there's a problem on both sides, which means the NFL probably won't do anything. But I don't know what needs to be done, but there needs to be some type of better grounding. I mean, you want to claim it in the NFL. I mean, claim that you're so for player safety. We need to look at the fields, that the playing fields that these players are playing on, and make sure it's in the best condition and it's suitable for all footwear, whether it be Under Armour, Nike. Y'all could be in cahoots or what have you. But it was a lot of slipping aside. It was not a clean game in that sense. But we'll leave that there. That's a problem for the offseason, maybe. But this next one, this next one, Dre, we saw it. We saw it last night. We really didn't talk about it too much, but we saw it last night. Huh? Byron, I'm sure you saw it too. A brother that plays for the Philadelphia Eagles had a very interesting pregame outfit on. Okay. I got a picture of it right here. Good people. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but let's Fletcher Cox, guys. Fletcher Cox. See if I can find me another.
And you can't tell him that he wasn't killing them out there.
Oh boy. Oh, he. Hey, Roger, did you see? I don't know if you saw on that, but I don't know if you saw during the game more.
Oh Lord, please spare us.
What the hell is that?
That's a Fletcher Cox. That's a Fletcher Cox. That's who that is. What is he wearing? I'm not completely sure. But
He's not
he has
completely
he and it looks like he had those aren't pearls, but he has some type of choker that matches his lavender. I believe that's the color lavender outfit he has on. But brother, what are we doing? Oh boy, you got him talking to Strahan. Oh boy, Strahan trying to look away. You see him? You see Strahan trying to look away? He said, I'm trying to talk to Rihanna. Ain't nobody trying to talk to you. You dress like Rihanna. I'm trying to talk to Rihanna. That's what he's telling them. What are you doing? You too big for all this, for all what you doing, brother. They don't make that size everywhere. And don't lie to me. They don't make that size everywhere. That's a custom lavender suit that he has on with a blouse. He has a blouse on underneath of that suit. You see it?
Blouses.
It don't have, this is cut off, y'all. This is cut off. All this in here. He don't got no shoulders. If he took his jacket off, his shoulders be out, y'all. If he took the suit jacket off, his shoulders be out. Okay? And that's not even a button. Oh, that's not even a button. It's a connected. Oh man. The more I look at this, it gets worse. That's not even a button, y'all. That's a connector jump. Belt like. Which which makes it more, you're not supposed to be wearing that, brother. Why? Fletcher. Cox, did you lose a bet, brother? What's going on? It looked like he tried to muster up, like he played for the Vikings, like he was a part of the Purple People Eaters. Like that's what he was going for. He was really representing the Vikings right here, maybe not the Eagles. This is why he had one tackle the whole game. Fletcher Cox was nowhere to be found. His stat, check that, one tackle the entire game. One. And you know why? Lavender. That's why. The lavender suit, the lavender choker, and the lavender blouse. That's why. That's why. What the hell? With the heezy he was thinking. But nah. And you know what would have been worse? If he put that on after they lost. And if he put that on after they lost, folks in Philly, I'm surprised they ain't throw something at this brother. You know how Philly get down. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, brother. I don't know. How do y'all feel about this lavender, lavish lavender outfit he has on?
You can take this fool off the damn screen.
You know, it would have been funny if he tried to like have like a tie too, but the tie be around his neck though. It don't be connected enough. It just be around. All right, I'm just saying.
Wow,
that's high level goofiness. That's not how you come into the biggest game of your life. That is not how you prepare. Okay, Fletcher Cox. That's probably why that was bad energy that you gave the Eagles. That's not how you come into the game of games, because you knew you was gonna be seen. This is Super Bowl, everybody gonna be seen. You knew you was gonna be seen, and you still chose to put this outfit on. All he was missing was one of them church hats, them lavender church hats. That's all he's missing. I don't know what's going on, but nah, Fletch, nah. I expect this from the basketball players and Cam Newton, but not you. Not you, Fletch. Is this where his money going to? Is this where the money going to? Anyway, Fletch, I don't know, but this was also Spice Adams' page, and Spice Adams also did a reenactment of it. Oh, that doggy.
Nah.
Take that off the screen,
Raj.
Get out of here.
Why? Get this fool off, man. Get this fool off to my damn TV.
Get
Get
this up out
Get
of
this
here,
fool off
man.
my iPad. Why would they let him? Why would they allow him to wear that?
Beats the hell out of me, man.
Spice Adams is a funny, very funny comedian. He's absolutely making fun of Fletcher Cox, but God dog it, Fletcher Cox started this, and he has to do better. But I'm gonna leave it up to the people. What did y'all think about the lavish lavender outfit? Because that's what it was called. It's called lavish lavender outfit that Fletcher Cox chose to wear in his pregame for the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna tell you what Kevin Garnett told Craig Sager back in the day. You need to take that suit and that lavender, take it out to the fireplace, burn it. I don't ever want to see that shit again. You take it back there, you put it in the dumpster or whatever, and you let that shit on fire and you burn it. Burn that lavender. Burn it.
Terrible. But y'all know my line. There's a thin line between goofy and great. Oh no, I'm sorry. Quick recap because I did have two. The grass and the slipping and sliding of the players in the Super Bowl. Low level goofy, and of course my high level goofy was the outfit choice of Fletcher Cox. Y'all know my line. There's a thin line between goofy and great, and that brother and that grass was on the wrong end of it. Got to do better, guys. Got to do better.
Gosh, something wrong here.
And there's my guy, Goofy. Till next time, man.
Thank you for that, Goofies of the week, Crevonte. Appreciate you, Drizzy Dre. Episode 381 next week. Continue our Sports and Blackness series. What can the people expect, brother?
Hey, next week we got Uncle Joe Lurick in the building next week, so that'll be a really good conversation. If you ever want to listen to him, he's on WEAA on Wednesdays, so I look forward to that conversation next week.
Should be fun. Always good getting the WEAA fam up in here. Speaking of which, Dre, how can they start their day with a cup of Dre on WEAA each and every day?
Hey, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I do Good Morning Baltimore, and then you can catch me right here with the Flex Zone podcast Mondays at 10 right here on YouTube. Like and subscribe.
Crevonte, we salute you, brother. Offensive coordinator, possibly this week. May have some news.
definitely sooner rather than later because we gotta get the ball rolling and draft right around the corner. We need our guys in place.
Executive producer Andre Melton, senior producer and co-creator with Andre. Crevonte heard the Mandalorian. Big Raj, let the people know what we got going on social media. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, the Flex Zone 1 and TikTok, Flex Zone Podcast, and of course that Cash App, the Flex Zone 1.
I just want to give a good shout out to TJ Smith for coming on the show today. You know, special shout out to TJ Smith. Only two. I also want to say yet again, rest in peace to Coach Freddie Hendricks, as they like to call him, Coach Butter. Coach 36 years at Mervo, the track and field coach at Mervo, and was probably one of the best in all of Baltimore City. Legendary coach. Going to definitely miss him. And gotta keep it moving, man. Gotta pass the baton to the next generation. I think that's what we're doing on this show right now. We're passing that baton to the next generation. So we're going to keep it moving, man. We're going to keep it moving. We're going to definitely have great content coming up this week. AEW Dynamite. We're going to have some Elimination Chamber talk. Elimination Chamber, the live show on Saturday.
Yes, we'll be here, and we got Orioles, pitches and catches.
Orioles reporting. So definitely check out a lot of content coming on the show. Got to keep this train moving. Got to keep it moving in the right direction because we're moving very, very fast. So stay tuned for more.
Vote on the poll. Hit the like button. Hit the bell. Hit subscribe. Once again, shout out to TJ Smith for blessing us in the podcast, dropping those tools. Everybody in the chat, and definitely much love to everybody. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the content. All the feedback, good, bad, and different. Only place fellas give you sports how you want it.
when you need it.
Yes. Appreciate it. Episode 380 in the books. We'll see you next week at the bell. Big week of content yet again. Live streams, videos. Stay tuned to the Flex Zone podcast. Of course, Elimination Chamber, Ravens news, Commanders news, Orioles, and so much more. Till next time, for Raj, Dre, Crevonte, God's favorite host signing out. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Peace. We're the ones.
Peace. Fletcher Cox stylist needs to be fired if he has one.
Yuck.
Fletch Cox said, y'all want me to come back? Is that what he said?
Burn that shit.
Great show, fellas.
Hey, you're still alive, man. But hold up.